41. The content of making out in heaven. You are listening at novelfull.audio. In the Chunin exam venue, a group of teams with heavenly earth coiling axes who walked out of the death forest stood neatly and orderly on the battlefield. There were 30 teams, that is, 60 people, participate in the death forest exam, but the teams that can pass the exam and arrive at the venue are only 6 teams, 16 people. One of the teams had only one member left, and neither of the other two took part in the third test. Among the genin standing on the battlefield are Uzumaki Naruto's 7th squad and HyūGa Hinata's 8th squad. HyūGa Neji is in the 3rd class and Orochimaru is in the 10th class. There is also the Sand Shinobi village team headed by Gaara, and the Red Copper Armor team with only one person left in Inen village. Inen village sent 2 teams this time, one of which was abstained by Yagyu Satoru. By killing to maintain balance, this is the so-called friendliness of the ninja world, but this habit has been abandoned by us. Sarutobi Hiruzen smoked and looked at the genin in front of him calmly. Between villages, young ninjas, through hard work and growth, bear the name of the village and build a bridge called hope. This is the meaning of the Chunin exam. Fire of. Sarutobi Hiruzen exhaled a cloud of pale smoke, and before he could finish speaking, he was interrupted by Yagyu Satoru. Yagyu Satoru appeared among the genin, put his hand to his mouth and booed. Who wants to listen to the old man talking nonsense? We genin now only want to kill our opponents and become the only ninja as soon as possible. Jonin, who was in charge of the class, was stunned for a moment, and looked at Yagyu Satoru who was standing in genin in doubt. Yagyu Satoru was still there just now, behind Lord 3rd Hokage, to be able to appear in the genin team in the distance in an instant. This instant speed, a bit fast. Yagyu Satoru, don't mess around. Sarutobi Hiruzen's face darkened. He was just about to explain the will of fire, the most critical core idea. It was interrupted by a sentence from Yagyu Satoru. If you don't have a mischievous personality and can protect the village wholeheartedly, then with Yagyu Satoru's strength, he is the most suitable candidate for 5th Hokage. Yu Hihong reprimanded softly, Mr. Lu Sheng. Don't interrupt Master Hokage. There are many other village ninjas present, as well as the fire daimyo who watched the show at the highest place. If Yagyu Satoru is messing around, where will 3rd Hokage's face be put? Teacher Lu Sheng. The Sand Shinobi crowd, headed by Gaara, looked sideways at Yagyu Satoru. Does this so-called teacher Lu Sheng have great power? How dare you interrupt 3rd Hokage, and the jonins present seemed to be used to it. Yagyu Satoru pointed with a lollipop, and the examiner Moonlight Heights said with a smile, let's begin, the 3rd exam. My student, Uzumaki Naruto, said he would easily beat all of you, Yagyu Satoru added. As soon as this statement came out, all the genins present at the same time looked at Uzumaki Naruto's face. With this idiot-looking crane tail, he said that he would easily beat all the candidates. Uzumaki Naruto felt that he was being watched by everyone. He proudly pushed the forehead protector, and said with a passionate and firm smile. Remember, I'm Uzumaki Naruto, and I'll work hard to get everyone's approval, and I'll be a Hokage man in the future. Through teacher Lu Sheng's teaching, I have become very strong, and I will beat all of you here. Say what you say, and do what you say. This is my way of ninja. Uzumaki Naruto hadn't realized the problem yet, so he boasted passionately, finally, I can stand out ahead of the fart Sasuke. In the eyes of all the genins present, they looked at the 3 members of the 7th class with hostile gazes. Uchiha Sasuke frowned slightly, cursed in a low voice, and said, this super idiot. What Mr. Lu Sheng said was obviously teasing, but Uzumaki Naruto, an idiot, took the initiative to answer the words and even boasted, this is undoubtedly setting up enemies. Naruto. Haruno Sakura rolled up his sleeves and punched Uzumaki Naruto hard. Bang! Uzumaki Naruto fell to the ground with a punch. He got up and covered the red envelope above his head, and looked at Haruno Sakura with a grieved expression. Little Sakura, why did you hit me? Haruno Sakura ignored Uzumaki Naruto, felt the hostile eyes of the audience, bent slightly and apologized, sorry, Naruto is talking nonsense, please give me your advice. Oh, nonsense. Sarutobi Hiruzen sighed, turned and walked towards the highest seat. Moonlight Gale coughed heavily, and said with a weak face, ahem, cough, the third exam is officially starting now. Is it okay to be so imaginary? Young people should exercise restraint. Yagyu Satoru glanced lightly at Moonlight Gale. The Moonlight Boy coughed every day, and became weaker every day. Mr. Lu Sheng, thank you for your concern, I have no problem. Yueguan Gaifeng said with a smile. Just after finishing speaking, he coughed several times, cough cough cough. Do you think they are like you? They go to Oiran Street every day. Yuehong gave Yagyu Satoru an annoyed look, puffed up her mouth slightly angrily, and muttered, the money is spent on dirty women, no wonder you have no money. It stands to reason that Yagyu Satoru is rich, but he spends money lavishly on Oiran Street. After Yagyu Satoru has no money, she will treat Yagyu Satoru to eat sweets. Speechless, whenever Yagyu Satoru gives her, send a small gift, even if it is a hair accessory, she is willing to treat Yagyu Satoru to a big meal every day. After Tsundere is a woman-resenting character. Yagyu Satoru said speechlessly. You're annoying. Shihihong snorted coldly, and walked quickly towards the viewing seats on the second floor as if angry. Sarutobi Asuma saw that Kurini Yuhi was angry with Yagyu Satoru, so he naturally lit a cigarette and went up to talk to Kurini Yuhi. Red, do you have time tomorrow in Class 8? As a reward for taking the Chunin exam, I will invite Shikamaru and the others to have barbecue tomorrow. Tomorrow, I'm going to treat Lu Xing to a cake. Shihihong pretended to be thinking seriously, and then smiled slightly. Sorry, I don't have time. Sarutobi Asuma scratched his head and smiled awkwardly. Okay, ha ha ha. Kurini Yuhi is angry with Yagyu Satoru, and Kurini Yuhi wants to invite Yagyu Satoru to eat cake. I will be your licking dog, and you will be his licking dog. What is the magic of this Yagyu Satoru? How could it make Yuehong, a strong woman who has never been in a relationship and is usually heroic, miss her so much? Yagyu Satoru passed by, patted Sarutobi Asuma on the shoulder, pretending to be sympathetic and said, give up, you are not as handsome as me. Is this consolation? Sarutobi Asuma's mouth moved slightly, and he went to the corner to smoke a cigarette by himself. He finished smoking a cigarette without thinking about it. Yagyu Satoru glanced lightly at the top spectator seat, where there was only Sarutobi Hiruzen and a daimyo from the Fire Nation, and fourth Kazekage, Orochimaru was absent. On the screen above the battlefield, the names of two people appeared. The first duel, Uchiha Sasuke vs. Red Copper Armor. Moonlight Gale announced. The first match is me. Uchiha Sasuke raised his mouth slightly, and slowly clenched his fists, with a flash of fighting intent in his eyes. He wants to prove it to everyone through this duel. He, Uchiha Sasuke, is a powerful genius. The genins on the battlefield dispersed, leaving only Uchiha Sasuke on the field, with a red copper armor covering his face with a veil covering his whole body. Uzumaki Naruto lay on the fence on the second floor, shaking his fists and shouting loudly, Sasuke, come on, don't lose to this guy. That he had met red copper armor before. At that time, red copper armor was very despicable and stole the scroll of heaven from their 7th class. Sasuke, you must win. Haruno Sakura clasped her hands together and placed them on her chest in a prayerful manner. Cough. Yuehong coughed lightly, walked to Yagyu Satoru, lay down on the fence, pretending to be indifferent, like asking a question casually. Lu Sheng, what do you think of this competition? There's no need to read, my students will win. Yagyu Satoru took out Kissing Heaven, let out a sigh, and flipped through the book with a bored expression on his face. Does it look good? Yuehong intentionally leaned her head closer to Yagyu Satoru's face, and glanced curiously at the content of Making Out in Heaven. Takeda pressed Rumi against the wall, touched Rumi's leg with his hand, and stroked upwards little by little. Yagyu Satoru read the content of the book, shook and kissed heaven, and teased, can you stop being so lustful? You are lecherous, nasty. Yuhi blushed, with a hint of shyness in her eyes. She was still wondering just now, what is the content of Making Out in Heaven, but I never expected that the content was very obscene, but Yagyu Satoru could still read the content of the book with the cheek. Blushing means you understand. Have you ever seen me shy? Yagyu Satoru said lightly. Yuehong didn't speak, and looked at the game below with a blushing face. Lu Xing can read this kind of book calmly and calmly, God. P.S. Ask for flowers, ask for monthly tickets, ask for evaluation tickets, kneel down, celebrate the 7-day long holiday of National Day and enjoy reading books. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity time, October 1st to October 7th. For 2 HyūGa Hinata asks Yagyu Satoru to eat candy. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Time passed slowly, and the jonins who led the class were watching casually at the beginning, and gradually became serious, looking at Uchiha Sasuke. Even Sarutobi Asuma, a powerhouse at the elite jonin level, was surprised by Sasuke's strength. Stinky boy, if I catch you, you will be dead. My ability is to absorb chakra. The red copper armor wrapped around Uchiha Sasuke like a snake, with a hint of arrogance in his low tone. He can absorb other people's chakra, although it takes a lot of time to absorb a lot of chakra, but the ability to absorb chakra is a deadly ability for ninjas. Uchiha Sasuke felt the passing of chakra, his complexion changed slightly, and then a look of contempt flashed in his eyes, and he snorted coldly, so what? In the face of Uchiha's power, any of your abilities are meaningless. Uchiha Sasuke 3 Tomo Sharingan froze, the tables turned. The red copper armor was still there just now, entwining Sasuke with snake-like arms, but the person he is entwining now is himself. This is an illusion. The red copper armor's face changed drastically, and a hint of shock flashed in his eyes. He didn't realize that everything just now was an illusion. That's it, trash. Uchiha Sasuke smiled coldly, with a hint of sarcasm in his smile. He held the wrist of his left hand with his right hand, and a light blue chakra emerged from his palm. The chakra spins like a small whirlwind, culminating in a spinning Rasengan. Rasengan. Uchiha Sasuke held the Rasengan in his hand, and leaped violently into the belly of the red copper armor. Boom! The pupils of the red copper armor shrank, spit out a large amount of blood. The body flew into the air, spun rapidly in the air, hit the wall heavily, and smashed a small hole. How is it possible? The red copper armor clutched his abdomen, and fell to the ground in a daze. He was gutted and had 5 broken bones. Near death. Rasengan. Everyone's faces changed slightly. Even the lead jonin looked at Uchiha Sasuke in disbelief. Uchiha's orphan actually learned that genius ninja, Rasengan developed by 4th Hokage. Many jonin can't help it, master the Rasengan developed by 4th Hokage, and a genin actually learned it. Yagyu Satoru taught it, right? Yagyu Satoru, Rasengan is a very dangerous ninjutsu. You are fooling around by teaching this technique to genin. Sarutobi Hiruzen sat on the top, frowning at Yagyu Satoru. Most of this year's genin are 12 or 13-year-old children, and the children have not yet established independent thinking. When these children have strong strength, it may backfire, like a baby holding a knife. Yagyu Satoru closed the book, glanced at Sarutobi Hiruzen lightly, and said proudly, Sarutobi old man, who do you think you are talking to? I am the best teacher in the village. He has been calling now, Sarutobi Hiruzen as Sarutobi old man. There is no longer the prefix 3rd generation, his students, not to mention the baby holding the knife. Even if the placenta holds the knife, they have to listen to his teachings, because he is Yagyu Satoru, the teacher of the 7th class. I hope. Sarutobi Hiruzen smoked a cigarette and didn't continue talking. I never thought that Sasuke could learn Rasengan. Sarutobi Asuma lit a cigarette, looked at Yagyu Satoru curiously, and asked, how did you teach him? That what method did Yagyu Satoru use to make a genin learn the ultra-advanced Muji Rasengan? The Rasengan can only be used by applying the form change to ultimate, and genin can master the shape change, which must be the excellent teaching of Yagyu Satoru. At this moment, Sarutobi Asuma, in his heart, identifies with Yagyu Satoru, who is the best teacher in the village. Him. It's them. Yagyu Satoru held up 3 fingers, but he didn't answer Sarutobi Asuma's question. They. Could it be that Class 7 knows Rasengan? Yuhi Hong's pretty face was slightly startled, and she looked at Uzumaki Naruto and Haruno Sakura in disbelief. Sasuke and little Sakura are fine, but Uzumaki Naruto is a well-known crane tail, and he is poor in chakra control. Even Uzumaki Naruto couldn't use it well when he was in school, the lowest clone, which is enough to prove how poor chakra's control qualifications are, but Yagyu Satoru can make Uzumaki Naruto learn Rasengan, kind of unbelievable. If Uzumaki Naruto really knows Rasengan, then Yagyu Satoru's education method is a bit too outrageous. After reacting, Moonlight Hay-8 raised his hand and coughed and announced, "Victor, Uchiha, cough cough Sasuke." Next match, Tian Tian vs Temari. Moonlight Gale glanced at the big screen. Humph, boring. Uchiha Sasuke put his hands in his pockets, turned and walked to the second floor. He stopped suddenly and felt Yagyu Satoru's gaze, almost forgot a very important thing. Uchiha Sasuke gritted his teeth, a look of embarrassment flashed in his eyes, and he turned his head to look coldly at the red copper armor that fell on the ground. "The Rasengan taught to me by teacher Lu Sheng, how can you beat it with your strength?" After finishing speaking, Uchiha Sasuke lowered his head, his eyes were full of embarrassment, and walked to the spectator seats on the second floor. 1 point was almost deducted by teacher Lu Sheng. Everyone present was speechless. Uchiha Sasuke said this on purpose, without even thinking about it. It must have been an order from Yagyu Satoru. Tian Tian and Temari are heading to the battlefield. Tian Tian has a confident expression on his face, and Temari also has a confident expression on his face. Both of them are very confident in their own strength. Very good, I'll give you full marks for pretending to be evasive. From now on, all pretends will bear my name. Yagyu Satoru looked at Sasuke, gave a thumbs up, and showed a satisfied smile. Uchiha Kid is really good at pretending. Wasting time. Uchiha Sasuke sat cross-legged on the ground, leaning his back against the wall with his hands behind his head, and slowly closed his eyes. "Lu Sheng, can you pass on your education policy to me?" Shihong poked Yagyu Satoru with her arm, with anticipation in her eyes. "Use your huge humiliation to rub my back, and I'll tell you." Yagyu Satoru pointed at Yuihong's bust with a lollipop. Shihong bit her lips lightly, a hint of shame and anger flashed in her eyes. She slowly clenched her white fists, finally turned her head, and snorted coldly, "Rogue. What kind of tiger-wolf word is this?" Thanks to Yagyu Satoru for speaking. Hyuga Hinata held a piece of candy, walked up to Yagyu Satoru, and said shyly, "Mr. Lu Sheng, it's delicious, tang." Yagyu Satoru looked down at Hyuga Hinata, who was shy and awkward, and said speechlessly, "Do you have a language barrier?" Hyuga Hinata, the brat, speaks coyly and anxiously. Kurinai Yuhi touched Hinata's little head, said with a gentle smile, "Hinata wants to treat you to candy, she is a very kind child. She adores Hyuga Hinata, an innocent and kind little girl." Lu. Teacher Lu Sheng, sugar. Hyuga Hinata's fair little face was blushing, eyes full of shyness and panic, and put a sugar in Yagyu Satoru's hand. This was her favorite candy when she was a child. Yagyu Satoru took apart the candy and threw it into his mouth, sipping it lightly, then touched Hinata's little head, and smiled slightly. It's delicious, please work hard for the exam." "Then, that's good. I will, come on." Hyuga Hinata raised his little hand, tapped his 2 fingertips, his faltering voice became smaller and smaller. Yuihong looked at Hyuga Hinata, who was shy with a strange expression on her face. Hinata is usually very passive, how can she take the initiative to ask Yagyu Satoru to eat candy now? Strangeness. She didn't think much of it. After all, Hyuga Hinata was still a child in her eyes. Yagyu Satoru glanced at Sarutobi Hiruzen, and said loudly on purpose, "Abandon your weak character, and you will become strong after being firm, even stronger than the old man Sarutobi." When Sarutobi Hiruzen heard it, the corner of his mouth moved slightly. This kid started messing around again. He could hear what Yagyu Satoru meant, it was nothing more than mocking his weak will. "Thank you. Thank you, Teacher Lu. Lu Sheng." Hyuga Hinata blushed even more, lowered her head and poked her fingers, making a sound as subtle as a mosquito. "It's all right, just work hard." Yagyu Satoru waved his hand. "It's a good thing you can hear." Yuihong smiled helplessly, she didn't hear what Hyuga Hinata said at all. Yagyu Satoru pointed at Hyuga Hinata's mouth with a lollipop, and teased, "It might taste better if it's your imported candy." Import sugar. Hyuga Hinata's face was flushed, and the whole person seemed to be in a panic, and the top of his head was about to emit steam. Then, due to excessive shyness, he lost consciousness and fell on Yuehong's body. She is 12 years old and knows the meaning of imported sugar. You are always molesting the kids, and the imported candy you mentioned, is it the Oiran Street game? Yuehong hugged Hyuga Hinata, and glared at Yagyu Satoru angrily. P.S. Ask for flowers, ask for monthly tickets, ask for evaluation tickets, kneel down. The plot of the last 2 chapters is relatively flat, but after all, an excessive plot is needed, otherwise it will appear very abrupt. Celebrate the 7-day-long holiday of National Day and enjoy reading books. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity time, October 1st to October 7th. 43, The Caged Bird, HyūGa Neji. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Time passed slowly, and an hour had passed. Someone wins, someone loses. The duel between Temari and Tian ended in Tiantian's disastrous defeat. Sand Shinobi Village proved the strength of Sand Shinobi Village genin to everyone present. Akimichi Choji paid the price with serious injuries, and ended in a disastrous defeat after crippling his opponent, Haruno Sakura and Yamanaka Ino. The two gambled on their childhood ideals, and Haruno Sakura finally won. Haruno Sakura didn't use the Rinnegan because she was afraid that it would hurt Yamanaka Ino badly, so the two of them were completely in hand-to-hand combat, punching to the flesh. Yagyu Satoru, who watched it, called it wonderful. He likes watching women tearing up, and Uzumaki Naruto gambled on Hokage's dream, used all his strength to severely injure Inuzuka Tooth, and used multiple Rinnegan with Shadow Clone. Even Sarutobi Hiruzen was surprised, not to mention Sarutobi Hiruzen. Even the teachers present were very surprised. They were surprised that Yagyu Satoru was able to teach Uzumaki Naruto, the crane tail Rinnegan, the 7th class all one. At this time, everyone in the audience focused their attention on the 2 young genins on the battlefield below. HyūGa Neji fights HyūGa Hinata. Everyone present thinks that the duel between the 2 HyūGa clans is very interesting. And HyūGa Hinata was very weak and afraid of fighting from the very beginning, but his firm attitude until now has surprised many people. Master Hinata, you are more suitable to stay in the greenhouse, under the care of everyone, and be an incompetent young lady. HyūGa Neji had blue veins on his temples. His pale eyes looked at HyūGa Hinata in front of him, and sneered coldly. With your talent, taking the Chunin exam is death. You will lose to me. This is your fate. That he is a genius of the HyūGa clan, but because of his natural blood, he can only become a subordinate of the HyūGa clan in his life. The son never looks up, even being imposed on a caged bird. Because his father was born a little later, he was thrown into the birdcage by fate. He could only serve as the branch house of the HyūGa clan all his life, and even died in battle for protecting the HyūGa clan. He hates fate, hates the HyūGa clan. He is obviously the HyūGa clan, the most talented ninja in history. Why should he be inferior to HyūGa Hinata, this weak and untalented person? Why? Destiny, ridiculous fate. Go on, Neji big brother. HyūGa Hinata stood up. A stream of scarlet blood flowed from the corner of her mouth. Her eyes opened suddenly, veins were sprouting from her temples, and there was a hint of determination in her pale eyes. You know you will fail. Why do you still get up again and again? Your fate is to be defeated by me, stupid Hinata-sama. HyūGa Neji saw Hinata get up, and a flash of anger flashed in his eyes. He is destined to win against Hinata, because that is fate. And why did Hinata resist fate and climb up? HyūGa Neji leaped forward and slapped Hinata's abdomen with a tyrannical force, sending Hinata and his whole body flying. Bang! HyūGa Hinata flew out and landed heavily on the ground, spitting out a piece of scarlet blood from his mouth. Everyone in the audience looked heavy. Even the Jonins who led the team couldn't understand why HyūGa Hinata had to get up again and again when there was a huge difference in strength. Holding the iron bars in his hand, Inuzuka shouted angrily, Hinata, what are you doing? Hurry up and beat this bastard. Seeing his teammates being beaten badly, he is very angry now, and even forgot the shame of losing to Uzumaki Naruto. Come on, Hinata, teach me a lesson. This guy is worse than Sasuke. Uzumaki Naruto echoed loudly. Aburame Shino glanced at HyūGa Hinata, then looked at HyūGa Neji, and said in a deep voice, "There is a big difference in strength, Hinata has no chance of winning." "Bastard, what stupid things are you talking about? Give Hinata a good cheer." Inuzuka Gaga looked at Aburame Shino angrily. "It's so noisy, a bunch of brats." Yagyu Satoru glanced at Uzumaki Naruto and others with a lollipop in his mouth. Although Hinata has a weak personality, she is a very hardworking child. She is trying her best to prove herself to the Hyuga clan. Kurenai Yuhi held the iron rail tightly with her small white hand, and her eyes were full of worry. She can always see that Hyuga Hinata is practicing hard. The child Hinata also wants to give up his weak character to prove himself to everyone. "Little Hong, don't make judgments with big breasts and no brains, she will die if you continue." Yagyu Satoru pointed at Hyuga Hinata below with a lollipop. He can see, Hyuga Neji was already planning to kill Hyuga Hinata in one go. "I hope that this child, Hinata, can change through this battle." Yui Hong was worried about Hinata, but finally decided to respect Hyuga Hinata's ideas. "Lu Sheng, I'll treat you to the highest grade cake, and this child Hinata will trouble you." Yui Hong said. She wanted Hinata to continue the fight, and when Hinata was really in danger, Yagyu Satoru was trying to stop it. "The most expensive?" Yagyu Satoru asked. "The most expensive," Yui Hong said. "Feed me with humiliation?" Yagyu Satoru asked. Yui blushed slightly, and said unhappily, "Be serious." "No problem, I agree." Yagyu Satoru agreed. In full view of the audience, Hyuga Hinata put his hands on the ground and climbed up unsteadily. "Because you are the eldest lady of the Hyuga clan, do you have to be brave again and again?" Hyuga Neji's face darkened, and he said in a deep voice, "Don't be ashamed, it is your fate to lose to me. P.S. Ask for flowers, ask for monthly tickets, ask for evaluation tickets, kneel down, celebrate the 7-day-long holiday of National Day and enjoy reading books. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity time, October 1st to October 7th. For the person I like, Hyuga Hinata #039, S Ninja Way. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Standing here is me, and what I decide is my own will. After Hyuga Hinata coughed twice, he spit out a large piece of scarlet blood, even standing still. In the past, I could only cry, and I would give up early in everything I did. Several times I wanted to just accept my fate like this. But I am like this, and I will be encouraged to defeat you. Hyuga Hinata recalled the encouragement from Yagyu Satoru before. She used to cry when she was scolded or bullied, but she never thought about resistance and change, even once thought, this is fate. But when she was about to be bullied at the age of 7, she met a man wearing sunglasses who always had a smile on his face. The man was so casual that he beat off a few children who bullied her. Before the man left, he said a word to her, "Incompetence and weakness are sins, but you are not guilty, you little brat." For the first time, Hyuga Hinata was recognized. The reason why the man saved her was probably because he was bored, but in the eyes of Hyuga Hinata, the man's frivolous and arrogant back is the most handsome hero. "I want to be a great ninja who is as strong as my father and as gentle as my mother." Hyuga Hinata's hands were knotted in mudra, veins popped out of his temples, and his pale eyes reappeared. "No one can escape fate, I will finish you here." Hyuga Neji raised his hands in a combat posture, with a cold killing intent in his eyes. "Being hoped by someone you like, even I will carry out the way of ninja." Hyuga Hinata wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth, and sneaked a glance at Yagyu Satoru above. "I want to respond to his expectations, this is my way of ninja." Hyuga Hinata's fair little face was full of determination. Many people in the audience were slightly taken aback because they noticed Hyuga Hinata's subtle movements when speaking. Hyuga Hinata sneaks a glance at Yagyu Satoru when talking about someone he likes. Everyone in the audience looked at Yagyu Satoru strangely. "Puppy love kid." Yagyu Satoru looked at Hyuga Hinata indifferently. Although he was always confessed, what Hinata said surprised him. Yagyu Satoru sighed, "My damn charm, being too handsome is also a sin." "Lu Sheng, you are indeed guilty, a 12-year-old girl, you have the heart to do it. Shihihong gave Yagyu Satoru an angry look. She only now figured out, some strange behavior of Hyuga Hinata before, the affection is because of liking Yagyu Satoru. Enough, I'll kill you with one blow. Hyuga Neji's eyes flashed with anger, his whole body exuded wisps of light blue chakra. He leapt forward and pointed at Hyuga Hinata's heart with 2 fingers. He intends this blow to penetrate Hyuga Hinata's heart. At this time, even Might Guy's face changed slightly, and he shouted in a deep voice, "Neji, stop!" That he could see Hyuga Neji and was going to kill Hyuga Hinata with one blow. In the blink of an eye, Yagyu Satoru disappeared out of nowhere and appeared in the battlefield. Bang! Hyuga Neji was kicked into the air, and after a few laps in the air, Hyuga Neji slammed heavily into the wall. Young people should be energetic, don't be so hostile, and be careful to become Shimura Danzo in the future. Yagyu Satoru held a lollipop in his mouth, put his hands in his pockets and looked through the sunglasses, looking at Hyuga Neji faintly. He was right to stop Hyuga Neji, because of the Chunin exam. Although it is called a death exam, it is forbidden to kill people in the same village. Get out of the way, this is the business of our Hyuga clan. Hyuga Neji stood up, with a streak of scarlet blood flowing from the corner of his mouth, and stared at Yagyu Satoru coldly. Troublesome brat. Yagyu Satoru emerged from his fingertips, a pale blue chakra, ready to knock out Hyuga Neji with one blow. Neji, you've already won. Might Guy appeared out of thin air, putting his hands on top of Hyuga Neji's head. Might Guy showed a sunny smile, gave a thumbs up and said, although you won, but you hit too hard, I will punish you tomorrow by running 50 laps around the village. On the second floor above, Lee Locke gave a thumbs up and said with a sunny smile, Neji, I will run with you, let's sweat in the sunset together. Very well, Lee, this is youth. Might Guy said heartily. Might Guy and Lee Locke looked at each other and gave thumbs up. Your eyebrows and hairs are already funny enough. Yagyu Satoru praised, this pair of master and apprentice is completely a living treasure. Hyuga Hinata fell to the ground, grabbed Yagyu Satoru's trouser legs, and said weakly, Mr. Lu Sheng, have I become stronger? Yagyu Satoru looked at Hyuga Hinata lightly, and sighed inwardly, little boy is so troublesome. Yagyu Satoru hugged Hyuga Hinata, a light blue chakra emerged from his palm, and smiled lightly, you have worked hard. Yeah. Hyuga Hinata smiled happily, his consciousness gradually blurred, and then fell asleep. Mr. Lu Sheng, please give her to us. Several medical teams walked into the venue. It's okay, you combined, you can't cure it as fast as I can with one finger. Yagyu Satoru hugged Hyuga Hinata, disappeared out of thin air and appeared on the second floor. He wasn't arrogant, he was telling the truth, his healing methods are comparable to those of Tsunade. Everyone in the medical class looked embarrassed, and walked back to the logistics in a desperate manner. Here you are. Yagyu Satoru tossed Hyuga Hinata to Kurenai Yuhi and said with a sigh, don't forget the cake, I want the most expensive one. Got it. Yuihong placed Hyuga Hinata on the ground behind her, gently stroking the latter's small head, and said gently, you've done a good job. You bastard, how dare you trample on other people's ninjutsu at will. Uzumaki Naruto pointed at Hyuga Neji and shouted angrily, I will beat you to the ground in the final. Cough cough cough, the winner, Hyuga Neji. Moonlight Hayate coughed violently, he looked up at the big screen, and then raised his hand to announce. Next fight, Lee Locke of Sgara. Hyuga Neji ignored Uzumaki Naruto, glanced at the sleeping Hyuga Hinata, then smacked his mouth and turned away with his fists clenched. Hinata-sama, no one can change fate. In full view, Gaara walked to the battlefield. Might Guy patted Lee Locke on the back, and said with a hearty smile, come on, Lee, let everyone witness your ninja way. Yes, Mr. Guy. Lee Locke saluted, then jumped from the second floor to the playing field. I'm Lee Locke, please give me your advice. Lee Locke put one hand behind his back and the other in front of his body, posing a posture ready to strike at any time. Gaara didn't speak, but folded her hands on her chest, her eyes were colorless, and she looked at Lee Locke expressionlessly. Second floor, Temari and Kankuro looked down at Gaara with heavy faces. Kazekage-sama ordered last night to advance the plan to destroy the Konoha shinobi village, and Gaara will unleash the strength of one tail in this duel. After Gaara erupts the power Of Shikaku, the plan to destroy Konoha will officially begin. P.S. Ask for flowers, ask for monthly tickets, ask for evaluation tickets, kneel down, celebrate the 7-day-long holiday of National Day and enjoy reading books. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity time, October 1st to October 7th. 45. Efforts cannot be surpassed, and there is a wall with blood. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Yuegwang Haifeng clenched his hands into fists and put them next to his mouth. While coughing, he raised his hands and announced, "Ahem, cough, the game begins." The voice fell. Leaf Hurricane. Lee-Lock leaped, and after a high-flying kick, he kicked Gaara's head hard. Gaara didn't move, but folded his hands in front of his chest, and a large piece of sand rose from the ground, blocking Lee-Lock's flying kick. Can you control the ninjutsu of sand? Let's try it first. Lee-Lock leaped back, distanced himself from Gaara, and looked at the sand that surrounded Gaara's body like a living creature. Lee-Lock continued to attack Gaara, but no matter how he attacked, he would be completely blocked by the sand, high platform on the second floor. Sand. Is it the limit of blood succession? Yuhi Honglu frowned slightly, with bright red eyes like jewels, watching the battle below seriously. Sand escape is a rare ability, and it also belongs to the category of blood succession limit. The combination of wind style and earth style can produce sand escape. Lu Sheng, what do you think of this sand shinobi village's Gaara? Yuhi Hong's beautiful eyes showed a look of thought, and said with a little doubt, I think he is weird. Those sands are like living things. She found that Gaara didn't use a single bit of chakra from the beginning to the end, and all the sand was like a living creature, automatically defending against Lee-Lock's attack. My God, have you ever been struck by lightning? Why did you become smart all of a sudden? Yagyu Satoru looked at Kurenai Yuhi strangely, deliberately putting on an attitude of surprise. You've just been struck by lightning. I've always been smart. Yuihong gritted her silver teeth, and glared at Yagyu Satoru angrily. Yagyu Satoru looked at Gaara's chakra lightly through the passive 6 eyes. This one glance alone reveals the source of Gaara's power. This little devil who lacks love has 3 types of abilities. Yagyu Satoru raised 3 fingers and said, his crane guard, fuck it. The sand that Gaara uses for defense is a living creature with autonomous consciousness, which comes from the will left behind by her mother after her death. Fuck. What a strange way of saying it. Shihihong complained, how strange she sounded, and Yagyu Satoru said, fuck these 3 words, it felt like a curse. Girls, don't speak vulgar language. Yagyu Satoru teased. I'm repeating what you said. Yuihong said without a word, and then recalled the shoha she just heard, and asked curiously, what is shoha? It's the 9-tails demon fox of Sand Shinobi Village. Yagyu Satoru sipped the lollipop lightly, and said with a faint smile, I'll ask you to pay the tuition again. Demon fox. Yuhi Hong was slightly taken aback, subconsciously looking at Uzumaki Naruto next to her. Her parents died during the 9-tails rebellion. Gaara in Sand Shinobi Village is also the container of the tailed beast. That is, Yuihong looked down at the playing field. This Gaara of Sand Shinobi Village is dangerous. Afterwards, Yuihong pretended to be angry. That's right, that's right. I'm a woman with a lot of problems. You're impatient, right? Then ignore me. Shihihong puffed up her mouth slightly, and turned her head with a very angry attitude. Yagyu Satoru was not talking. Kurenai Yuhi glanced at Yagyu Satoru secretly, and found that Yagyu Satoru was real, and after she didn't plan to talk to her, she bit her lips angrily. She thought Yagyu Satoru could say a word or two. Pooh. Yagyu Satoru is the most annoying thing. Uzumaki Naruto clenched his fists and shouted angrily, come on, Lee, give me a hard lesson, you bastard. That he still remembers the scene when he lost to Gaara before, and was ignored by Gaara and other Sand Shinobi. He remembered Gaara, and vowed to get back to the game. Lee-Lock's attacks were all blocked by Gaara, so Lee-Lock should lose if this goes on. Haruno Sakura lay on the iron rail, watching the game below. Uchiha Sasuke put his hands in his pockets and said coldly, it doesn't matter who wins or loses. I will prove the strength of the Uchiha clan in the final. He now possesses the 3 Tomo Sharingan, which he believes has been fully mastered. The power of the Sharingan's insight, coupled with Rasengan's attack power, is almost invincible in Genin, so he is very confident. Xiao Li is a genius who works hard, and he will definitely prove his ninja way. Might Guy put his hands on his hips, looked at the game below, and said firmly, he hasn't shown his true strength yet. Li Locke is his most beloved student, and he has passed on everything he has to Li Locke. But Xiao Li lost to Gaara from Sand Shinobi Village in the second exam. Haruno Sakura recalled the second exam, when they encountered Gaara in the 7th class, and when they were in crisis, Li Locke, Ino and others came forward, but there were so many Genins at that time, all of them were forced to retreat by Gaara alone. The lotus of Konoha will bloom again. Might Guy gave a thumbs up, showing a hearty and sunny smile, and a gleam of light flashed through his white teeth. Everyone in the 7th class was slightly taken aback. They had heard Li Locke say this before. I'll lose. Yagyu Satoru sipped the lollipop lightly, and glanced at Might Guy lightly. When he rescued Uzumaki Naruto, he judged Gaara's strength in an instant. Gaara is currently stronger than many Jonin-level powerhouses, although Gaara has no way to completely control the power of the crane, but at least the power is there. Might Guy looked down, and Li Locke, who was on the field, gave a thumbs up and said heartily, Xiao Li, now is the time for you to implement the way of ninja, show your full strength and prove yourself to everyone. Mr. Guy, that is to say. Li Locke's eyes showed happiness. Take it off. Might Guy nodded slightly. Take off what? Everyone in the 7th class was puzzled. Underwear. Yagyu Satoru said casually. Ah. Really? Uzumaki Naruto and Haruno Sakura were shocked. Yuihong looked at the innocent little Sakura and Naruto, and felt amused, and said, Lu Xing is teasing you. In full view of the audience, Li Locke leaped backwards, rolled a few times in the air, and landed on the fingers of the giant stone statue. Mr. Guy, it's really kind. Li Locke took off the 2 weights tied to his calf with ease. Everyone in the audience watched suspiciously. After Li Locke took off the weight, he looked very happy. It's just a load off, is there any need to be so excited? Li Locke throws 2 loads and throws them onto the playing field below. Bang! After the 2 loads hit the ground, 2 small potholes were smashed out, and the thick gray smoke billowed and stirred, gradually spreading across the entire venue. The weight of the 2 loads caused many Jonin leaders present to be stunned. They stared blankly at the iron body in the 2 potholes on the ground. This weight is outrageous. That means Li Locke has just been fighting Gaara in Sand Shinobi Village, wearing such a heavy load. Leaf Great Whirlwind. Li Locke leaped, landed on the ground and disappeared out of thin air, and used a full range of flying kicks on Gaara. The speed of Sand defense has gradually been unable to keep up with Li Locke's super fast speed. Just by taking off the weight, the speed will be qualitatively improved. It's very fast. Gaara looked flatly at Li Locke, who was using all-round flying kicks. Shadow Dance Leaf. Li Locke clenched his fists fiercely, and the bandage wrapped around his arms slowly fell off. His speed at this time was even higher. 8 inner gates. The first gate, open the gate. Li Locke broke through the sand, appeared below Gaara, and kicked Gaara's jaw with a sharp kick. Bang! Gaara was kicked into the air, but the heavy weight of the sand caused him to fly very slowly into the air. Li Locke chased Gaara and kicked several times in one breath, and each kick could kick Gaara higher into the sky. Lianhua. Li Locke hugged Gaara, and the bandage wrapped Gaara's whole body. The 2 spun extremely fast in the air and fell heavily to the ground. The ground trembled after the 2 boom landed, and they smashed a small pothole in the ground. While Li Locke jumped up and distanced himself from the pothole, Might Guy put his hands on his hips, with smug eyes, patted Yagyu Satoru's shoulder, and said heartily, Lu Sheng, after seeing this trick, do you still think Xiao Li will lose? Li Locke is his favorite student. I'll lose. Yagyu Satoru said calmly. Through the passivity of his 6 eyes, he could see that this move didn't cause any damage to Gaara. Even if hard work can surpass genius, it cannot surpass the wall with blood. Some people are born to be kings, and some are born to be bandits. This is the ninja world. P.S. Ask for flowers, ask for monthly tickets, ask for evaluation tickets, kneel down. Celebrate the 7-day long holiday of National Day and enjoy reading books. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity time, October 1st to October 7th. 46. Prove with hard work, surpassing all geniuses. You are listening at novelfull.audio. All eyes were on Gaara, who got up from the small pothole. There were cracks all over his body, and large pieces of sand fell off from the cracks, but the crack in Gaara's skin healed completely in just this moment, unscathed. It's unscathed. Lilac frowned slightly. The move he just used was the full strength after opening a door, but even that was useless, causing Gaara a little damage. Is this the strength of genius? He is born weaker than anyone else. In this ninja world, chakra is the main force, but his chakra has no attributes. He can't use ninjutsu, and he can't use genjutsu. Even in ninja school, his taijutsu is much worse than others, but he never gave up, weaker than others. Then go the extra mile. Still weak after hard work. Then work harder. Strong people can be divided into genius type and hardworking type, and he belongs to the diligent hardworking type. You're weak. Gaara's expressionless face, her eyes without emotion, calmly looked at Lilac in front of her. I'm indeed weak, and I don't have any talent. I've always been ridiculed, but I've been training hard. And then, that day. I'm finally a genin. Lilac looked sideways, at the Might Guy on the second floor above. Might Guy said with a serious face, use it, Shaoli, now is the time for you to surpass genius. Lilac clenched his fists violently, several blue veins appeared on his forehead, his skin gradually turned dark red, and a light blue scorching steam radiated from his whole body. I want to prove that even if you don't know ninjutsu or genjutsu, you can still become an excellent ninja. This is the whole of my life, and this is my way of ninja. 8 inner gates. Third gate, life gate, open. The light blue scorching steam, with Lilac as the core, produced a gust of wind, blowing away the surrounding stones. 8 inner gates. Everyone's heart trembled, and they looked at Might Guy with ugly faces. How could Might Guy teach students such a dangerous move as 8 inner gates? Go crazy. The Rinnegan is a danger to the enemy, but the 8 inner gates are a danger to themselves. If the 8 inner gates move is used incorrectly, it is very likely that it will die back. It is completely a move that hurts the enemy 1000 and damages oneself 400. Feeling the eyes of everyone in the audience, Might Guy said with a firm face, hard work can surpass genius. That's what Shaoli is all about. I believe he can become an excellent ninja. 8 inner gates. Everyone in the 7th class was puzzled. It was the first time they heard the words, 8 inner gates. After opening the 8th gate, you can increase your strength. After opening the 8th gate, you can have the strength beyond the Kage level powerhouse in a short period of time, but you will die if you open the 8th gate. Yagyu Satoru looked at Lee below through 6 eyes. Locke, with the strength of this watermelon-headed brat, he can at most open the 4th door, right? Teacher Lu Sheng, after opening the 8th door, can he be stronger than you? Uzumaki Naruto asked curiously. Who knows? Yagyu Satoru said, it is difficult to judge the strength gap without meeting the person who opened the 8th gate. After opening the 8th gate, you can gain power beyond Hokage. Should it be stronger than Teacher Lu Sheng? Haruno Sakura thought seriously. Yagyu Satoru took apart a lollipop, threw it into his mouth and chuckled. It should be troublesome, but I will definitely win. The smile is very confident. Even if he opens the 8th gate, he can gain the power of a Kage-level powerhouse with instant transcendence, but he will definitely win, because no one can break the limitless power, not to mention 8th gate, even the old man's 6 paths is useless. Because no lower limit is definitely not defense, but the power to stop time any attack by people or objects. The closer they are to Yagyu Satoru, the slower it will become, and finally it will seem to stop. So the 8th gate, even with its destructive power, couldn't touch Yagyu Satoru. At this point, the playing field. Gaara has always been calm, but after feeling the tyrannical power of Lilac, he frowned and said in a deep voice, what kind of power is this? Teacher Guy, now is the time for me to implement the way of ninja. Lilac gritted his teeth, scarlet blood flowed from his eyes, and the steam surrounding his whole body increased his temperature. The steam gradually changed from light cyan to dark cyan. This is my limit, the fourth gate of the 8 inner gates, the injury gate, open. Lilok's eyes turned pale, and the skin all over his body was cracked. The tyrannical steam that burst out directly created a small pothole in the earthquake. Injury is his limit, and it is all he has worked hard to the present. He wants to work hard to surpass genius, and bet all his ninja on this blow. Neji, keep your eyes open, this is a move I prepared for you. Lilok leapt forward, so fast that it seemed to disappear out of thin air in the eyes of others. What a speed! Many of the leaders' Jonin's faces changed slightly. With their dynamic eyesight, they couldn't even see Lilok. P.S. Ask for flowers, ask for monthly tickets, ask for evaluation tickets, kneel down, celebrate the 7-day-long holiday of National Day and enjoy reading books. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity time, October 1st to October 7th. 47. Orochimaru invades and starts destroying Konoha. You are listening at novelfull.audio. With my Sharingan, I can't even see clearly. Uchiha Sasuke used 3 Tomo Sharingan to look at the situation on the playing field, but he could only see the afterimage of Lilok. Uchiha Sasuke gritted his teeth and slowly clenched his fists. A cold look flashed in his eyes. The Sharingan of the Uchiha clan can't even see clearly what Lilok is doing. In other words, Lilok is stronger than me right now. What a joke. Gaara and HyūGa Neji are enough, there is actually a Lilok in Genin. Watermelon-headed kid, he attacked with his legs. Yagyu Satoru sipped the lollipop lightly, and looked at Lilok with 6 eyes. He can see every detail of Lilok's movements. Lu Sheng, can you see Xiao Li's movements? Shi Hihong asked suspiciously. She couldn't see Lilok's movement at all. Can see clearly. Yagyu Satoru glanced at Uchiha Sasuke as he said this. Uchiha Sasuke turned his head and snorted coldly. Why can teacher Lu Sheng see clearly? Could it be that Mr. Lu Sheng's eyesight is clearer than Sharingan's? How is this possible? Li Lianhua. Lilok appeared in front of Gaara with dark blue steam all over his body, and he kicked Gaara into the sky. It's so fast. The corner of Gaara's mouth was bleeding, and the sand armor all over her body fell off. He couldn't see Lilok's attack clearly with his naked eyes, and the sand used for defense couldn't keep up with Lilok's speed. It's all at stake, this is my shinobi. Lilok hugged Gaara, wrapping his arm straps around the latter's waist. The two of them spun rapidly in the sky, and after the twirl, a violent dark blue gust of wind was produced. Boom! The two of them slammed into the ground heavily, creating a large pothole in the ground. Lilok leaped back from the pothole and fell straight to the ground after landing. Hoo! Lilok was breathing heavily, and the muscles of his whole body were trembling. Now even a slight movement of his fingers can cause a sharp pain. He couldn't move anymore, so that blow just now was all his strength to carry out the way of ninja. It is also his current, full strength. He wanted to use that move just now to prove it to everyone. Hard work can surpass genius. HyūGa Neji folded his hands on his chest, looked at Xiaoli who was sitting on the ground, and muttered coldly, Xiaoli, are you planning to kill me? That terrible blow just now, Lilok would actually say, was a move prepared for him. Is this Lilok planning to kill himself in one breath? Everyone in the audience saw that Gaara slowly climbed up behind him, and everyone's faces gradually became serious. After being attacked by the fourth door with all its strength, he can still get up. This is Gaara in Sand Shinobi Village. There are oddities. Mom, are you longing for his blood? Don't worry Mom, I will let you drink his blood. Gaara stood up unsteadily, her left eye turned into an animal-like eye, and her left arm and left leg turned into claws made of sand. Mom, you said you want it now. Hee, don't rush my mom, I'll finish him right away. Gaara licked bloodline at the corner of her mouth with a bloodthirsty smile, and stared at Lilok with burning eyes. The sand covered Gaara's entire body, forming a large sand ball, with only a huge tail leaking out. Sleeping technique. It may be that he fell into a deep sleep and forcibly activated the power of the tailed beast. Boom! The sand rose from the ground, coiling towards Li Locke's arms and legs like a living thing. Xiao Li. Might Guy's face was serious, holding the iron bars firmly. He wanted to stop it, but if he did now, Li Locke would be out immediately. Living is the most basic wisdom. Do you want to watch him die? Yagyu Satoru looked at Gaara indifferently. The playing field was wrapped in sand. Does one tail guard the power of cranes? Orochimaru's dead ladyboy's plan seemed to be ahead of schedule. This kid put his life on the line and wants to prove himself. Might Guy said in a deep voice. As soon as the words fell, Might Guy jumped straight into the competition venue, shaking off the sand wrapped around Li Locke's arms and legs in one breath. I haven't lost yet. Li Locke forced himself to stand up, with one hand behind his back and the other in front of him, his legs trembling. I have always believed that as long as you practice twice as much as a genius, you will definitely become stronger. I've always believed, but no matter how hard I try, I'm never going to be as good as a true genius. Li Locke's voice choked up, his eyes were reddish, and hot tears rolled down from the corners of his eyes. He lost. He's been working hard, harder than anyone else, but he lost. Xiao Li. Might Guy hugged Li Locke. He couldn't say any comforting words, just hugged Li Locke quietly. Yagyu Satoru passed the passivity of the 6 eyes, and there were a large number of ninjas outside, surrounding the entire Chunin competition venue. Yagyu Satoru sipped the lollipop lightly, looked at everyone in the 7th class, and said with a faint smile, "Smelly brats, it's time for evening self-study." Everyone in the 7th class was puzzled. Evening self-study? What does it mean? Uzumaki Naruto hugged Yagyu Satoru's leg, crying, "Study so late. Teacher Lu Sheng, we just passed the Chunin exam, please let us go." Don't make noise, it's annoying. Yagyu Satoru picked up Uzumaki Naruto and threw it back. Rumble, the whole village shook violently, and countless huge snakes appeared out of thin air, wantonly trampling on all the houses and the places where the people passed by. A large number of Inin village, together with ninjas from San Shinobi village, poured into the Chunin examination venue. A blue-haired woman appeared instantly above Yagyu Satoru, her hands quickly forming mudras. Crystal style, Crystal 5 Seal Prison. P.S. Ask for flowers, ask for monthly tickets, ask for evaluation tickets, kneel down, celebrate the 7-day-long holiday of National Day and enjoy reading books. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity time, October 1st to October 7th. For 8 Yagyu Satoru was sealed. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Boom. The ground trembled violently, and several pillars formed by Sakura's red crystals rose from the ground, forming a cage to trap Yagyu Satoru inside. Seal it. Yagyu Satoru held a lollipop in his mouth, put his hands in his pockets and looked through the sunglasses, looking at the crystal cage lightly. A large black strange rune appeared on the surface of the cage, which seemed to be the power of the seal. Everyone in the audience was stunned, and they didn't wait for everyone to react. This is a gift I spent an hour preparing for you. Hong Lian looked at Yagyu Satoru in the cage, smiled coldly, then formed a mudra with both hands, and slammed to the ground. Crystal style, Crystal Wall 8 formation. Sakura's pink mist covered the entire field, and a huge hexagonal crystal appeared out of thin air to cover the area where Yagyu Satoru was. The crystalline surface contains an extremely amazing chakra, which is the strongest enchantment of Honglian, and can even temporarily trap the 3 tails in its heyday. These 2 seals can seal your chakra, although it's a bit fussy to use on people. Honglian breathed heavily, and looked coldly at Yagyu Satoru in the hexagonal seal. But you are Yagyu Satoru after all, don't call me mean. After she uses 2 seals, she consumes a huge amount of chakra. Lu Sheng. Yu Hihong looked into the distance, Yagyu Satoru inside the hexagonal crystal, with bright red eyes like jewels, showing a hint of worry. Is your goal Lu Sheng? Yu Hihong pulled out kunai and was just about to attack Honglian. Don't move, she will die if you move. Gyurin hugged Haruno Sakura with one hand, and put her hand on her neck. Quickly, when is this person? Uchiha Sasuke was slightly stunned for 580, he was 3 Tomo Sharingan, and he couldn't even see clearly, Honglian's body just now. Little Sakura, you bastard, let go of little Sakura. Uzumaki Naruto's complexion changed drastically, and he was just about to launch Shadow Clone with his hands crossed. Calm down, do you want this girl dead? Guren pierced the skin of Haruno Sakura's neck with a sharp kunai, and the scarlet blood flowed down the skin to the ground. Damn it! Uzumaki Naruto gritted his teeth, put away his seal hands, and stared at Guren with angry eyes. Haruno Sakura's face was pale, feeling the pain in her neck, and her eyes were full of fear, but finally mustered up the courage and shouted bravely. Red, Teacher Hong, don't worry about my priority to deal with the enemy. TSK. Kurina Yuhi paused, and Lu Mei frowned slightly, staring at Guren, and asked, Are you a ninja from Imnin village? What is your purpose? Idiot, who would tell the enemy about the plan? A rough voice sounded, the 4 Inran descended from the sky and landed in the 4 directions of the hexagonal crystal, and then they formed seals at the same time. 4 purple flame formation. 4 light walls appeared out of thin air, covering the huge crystal seal, forming a large barrier around Yagyu Satoru without any gaps, 2 high-level seals and 1 high-level barrier. Finish, they used a lot of resources and started planning a month ago, trying their best just to trap Yagyu Satoru, BCBG, for 5 minutes, on the high platform. Sarutobi Hiruzen looked down at the melee of a large number of ninjas, and then looked at Yagyu Satoru who was blocked by 2 seals and an enchantment. With a flash of anger in his eyes, dear teachers, Sarutobi Asuma and others immediately led Shikamaru, and they left the battlefield with Genin. After they escort Genin, they will also return to the battlefield. The ninjas in the village also joined the battle in the first place to stop Imnin village and San Shinobi village, shouted, San Shinobi village, huh? You're empty, starting a meaningless war. The Fire Country daimyo jumped up and landed in front of Sarutobi Hiruzen. He untied the clothes covering his whole body, revealing his evil face and enchanting figure. Orochimaru. He. Teacher Sarutobi, I haven't seen you for so long, you are still very naive. Orochimaru licked the corner of his mouth, and there was a hint of sarcasm in the pale golden animal pupils. The war had already begun, and he never expected that Sarutobi Hiruzen could still speak very weak and innocent words. Orochimaru. Sarutobi Hiruzen was slightly taken aback, and his face gradually became ugly. The moment he saw Orochimaru, a picture of the past appeared in his mind. In the old days, Orochimaru was his favorite student, but he ended up going astray. Without Yagyu Satoru, there is no threat, but just in case. Snake said hoarsely, 4 snakes drilled out of the ground, and then became Orochimaru's clones. All the clones jumped back and landed in 4 directions. 4 purple flame formation. All the snake clones formed seals at the same time, and 4 walls of light appeared out of thin air, forming a small seamless barrier. Orochimaru, are you still unable to let go of the hatred in your heart? Sarutobi Hiruzen puffed on a cigarette, suppressed the anger in his heart, and looked at Orochimaru calmly. Mr. Sarutobi, you are getting old. Orochimaru glanced down at Gaara, whose playing field was covered in sand. Will it take a while before Shoha fully wakes up? Orochimaru looked into the distance again, and was sealed by 2 high-level crystal styles, plus a Yagyu Satoru covered by a 4 purple flame array. As long as Yagyu Satoru can be held back, he will be able to successfully destroy the village, because Killer, Impure World Reincarnation. Kusanagi Sword. Orochimaru's neck grew longer, and with a sharp sword in his mouth, he slashed fiercely at Sarutobi Hiruzen's neck. At this time, another area. Iba, Shino, take Hinata and get out of here. Kurenai Yuhi held kunai in her hand, staring at Guren coldly. Yagyu Satoru was sealed, 3rd Hokage was attacked by Orochimaru, and a large number of ninjas invaded the village. Gaara on the playing field seems to be releasing a terrifying force. Haruno Sakura was also taken hostage, and many elite jonin, such as Kakashi and others, are still on missions. What should I do now? But Inuzuka's face was serious. He glanced at 3rd Hokage in the distance, then at Yagyu Satoru in the seal, and at Haruno Sakura who was taken hostage. Inuzuka-ya's words came to an abrupt end. Although he was arrogant, he usually had a very arrogant attitude, but at this moment, he also understood that staying here would become a burden to the Jonins. Mr. Hong, Naruto's idiots, I'll leave it to you. Inuzuka picked up HyūGa Hinata, hugged his beloved Akamaru, turned and ran away quickly. After his battle with Uzumaki Naruto, he recognized Uzumaki Naruto as his opponent. Aburame Shino also followed, leaving here quickly. You guys let go of little Sakura immediately, or I'll kill you here. Uzumaki Naruto was furious, his blue eyes turned into light golden animal pupils. The whole body reveals subtle dark red chakra. You are the container of the demon fox, right? I want to try whether you are faster or I am faster. Gyurin held kunai in her hand, slightly pierced into Haruno Sakura's skin, and looked down at Uzumaki Naruto in the distance indifferently. The container of the demon fox. Uzumaki Naruto gave up the attack, and after hearing the word container of the demon fox, he retorted angrily, I am Uzumaki Naruto, and I will be Hokage's man in the future. Leave me alone, the ninja must prioritize the task. Haruno Sakura lowered her head, her delicate body trembling because of fear. She glanced at Kurenai Yuhi in fear. Because of me, Teacher Hong didn't do anything for a long time. Teacher Lu Sheng is afraid that it is also because of me that he didn't break the seal with his hands, right? She remembers being educated in school. Ninjas should prioritize missions, and when ninjas are taken hostage, they will lose all value. She remembered that this sentence was a concept taught to her by an authoritative grandfather who was wrapped in bandages all over his body. Haruno Sakura looked at the sharp kunai on her neck in fear, then looked at everyone in the 7th class, smiled and said, Thank you, sorry, Mr. Lu Sheng. Haruno Sakura bit her lip and slammed forward towards kunai, intending to kill herself, thus losing her value as a hostage. There is a problem. A chuckling voice sounded. As soon as this remark came out, everyone in the audience was slightly startled, and looked at Yagyu Satoru in the multiple crystals. The seal. Yagyu Satoru raised his hand, knocked on a hard crystal, then pointed at Gyurin with a lollipop, and said with a disgusted expression, You don't have a soundproof function, be careful, I'll give you a bad review. P.S. Ask for flowers, ask for monthly tickets, ask for evaluation tickets, kneel down. 4-9 Hold this man for 5 minutes. Just let me die. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Hong Lian was slightly taken aback, and the whole person froze. Her crystal seal can seal human chakra and cells. This is the so-called full-body freeze, but Yagyu Satoru is like a normal person, able to move around freely. This seemingly frivolous man is a monster. There was a drop of cold sweat on Hong Lian's forehead, and she said coldly, No one can leave my seal. The reason why Orochimaru valued her was because she had the blood successor limit that could suppress 3 tails, crystal-style seal. Tailed beasts can seal you, how can you leave the seal if you are a mere human? Haruno Sakura, are you scared? Yagyu Satoru ignored Gyurin, but looked at Haruno Sakura lightly. The reason why he didn't move just now was because he was observing the 7th class, waiting for the others' adaptability. Namely, the adaptability of the 7th class, very bad. Class 7's ability to adapt to changing circumstances is too poor, but Haruno Sakura just for a moment intends to commit suicide to get rid of the value of the hostages. Full marks for this courage, full marks for courage, 0 marks for judgment, even. If it becomes a hostage, even if it will hinder the battle situation, living is also the most basic wisdom. Haruno Sakura bit her lip, trembling all over because of fear, forced a smile, and said, I'm fine, Teacher Lu Sheng don't care about me. She also wants to be an upright and excellent ninja. If it becomes a burden to teammates, what kind of ninja is this? Yagyu Satoru sipped the lollipop lightly, and asked indifferently, Don't be brave, tell me, are you afraid? That he could see that Haruno Sakura was very scared now. Scared. Haruno Sakura choked out. Despite her ninja identity, she is just a 12-year-old girl. They are not as strong as Naruto and Sasuke, and they will definitely be afraid when their lives are in danger. Remember this weakness, it will make you stronger. Yagyu Satoru said lightly, If you are afraid, close your eyes and shout for help with the loudest voice. Lu Sheng. Yu was puzzled. Yagyu Satoru was applied, 2 high-level blood succession limit seals, there is also a high-level enchantment, what else can be done in this situation? The Otonin 4 present, as well as Guren and the others were very puzzled. Make Haruno Sakura call for help. There is a fart. Yagyu Satoru put his hands in his pockets, and with a frivolous smile on his face, he said, "Smelly brat, did I tell you before? I am invincible." Haruno Sakura recalled that sentence that the new language said at that time, "No matter what happens, no matter who the enemy is, I am invincible." Haruno Sakura cried loudly, "Teacher Lu Sheng, help me." "Very well, you are very weak, you just want to call for help." Yagyu Satoru just finished speaking. Takes Yagyu Satoru as the core, an invisible force that shakes away all the hard crystals. In the blink of an eye, Yagyu Satoru clasped his hands together, and disappeared out of thin air from the 4 purple flames that separated everything. Yagyu Satoru activated unlimited power and switched places with Haruno Sakura. Guren is holding Yagyu Satoru in her arms, and Haruno Sakura appears in the barrier of the 4 purple flames that isolates everything. This guy, so fast. Guren's pupils shrank, and she thrust towards Yagyu Satoru's neck with kunai in her hand. Yagyu Satoru broke the crystal seal, and returned the position with the baby. This large-scale action only took a second. The sharp kunai stopped in front of Yagyu Satoru's neck as if still. "Don't hold me like this, women all over the world will be jealous." Yagyu Satoru grabbed Guren by the hair and threw Guren to the ground. Yagyu Satoru added a fist with unlimited strength, and hit Guren's face heavily. Bang! Honglien's face twisted, her body sank into the rocky ground, and then a small pothole appeared on the ground. Cough, cough, cough. Honglien spat out a large amount of blood, fell to the ground in severe pain, and was buried by boulders. She was stunned by a punch. What is the power of Yagyu Satoru's fist? No ordinary blow. At first she thought, hold Lu Xingyu for 5 minutes, it's an easy task. After all, she has a very powerful crystal-style blood succession boundary, which is famous for her seal. At the same time, he is also an elite Jonin powerhouse, but when Yagyu Satoru easily broke the seal of crystal style, she began to realize how serious the problem was. Yagyu Satoru has a transient body comparable to time and space. Moreover, Yagyu Satoru punched Hongren chakra in a turbulent flow, causing his limbs to lose consciousness due to severe head injuries. Guren really realized how difficult the task that Master Orochimaru entrusted to them was. Hold this man, Yagyu Satoru, for 5 minutes. Orochimaru is sending her Guren to her death. Good. So amazing. Uzumaki Naruto looked at Yagyu Satoru adoringly with little stars in his eyes. Don't look around, idiots, there are enemies around us. Uchiha Sasuke used the 3 Tomo Sharingan, staring at the 4 of Otonin with vigilance. Kurenai Yuhi secretly breathed a sigh of relief when she saw that Haruno Sakura was out of time. Stay back, Genin, leave this place to us. Yuhi Hong looked at the 4 of Otonin coldly with a hint of heroism in her eyes. Do it. After the 4 of them reacted, they clasped their hands together at the same time, and the curse marks on all of their necks emitted a dark red light. The skin of the 4 mean people turned dark, and they entered the state of curse seal 2 at the same time. After capturing the hostage, you can drag it on for a while. That the Otonin 4 disarmed the 4 purple flame formation, and they attacked Haruno Sakura, Uzumaki Naruto, Uchiha Sasuke, and Yuihong respectively. Just a moment ago, after seeing Guren being punched, they immediately judged that there was absolutely no way to beat Yagyu Satoru, so the hostages need to be captured. Ha! Uchiha Sasuke 3 Tomo Sharingan, staring at one of the infinitely approaching Otonin, a light blue chakra emerged from his palm. Ask for flowers, chakra spins and turns into a Rasengan. Idiot, just because you want to block me? Jirobo had a mocking expression on his face, and he appeared behind Sasuke at an extremely fast speed in the state of Curse Seal 2. It's so fast. Uchiha Sasuke's pupils shrank, and they all exuded a trace. Even with his Sharingan, he couldn't see Jirobo's speed clearly. This man is super powerful. They are my students, do me a favor. Yagyu Satoru appeared out of thin air, behind Jirobo, and grabbed the latter's head. It's so fast, it's even faster than me, in the state of Mantra Seal 2. Jirobo's pupils shrank, with an unbelievable expression on his face. The praying mantis catches the cicada, the oriole follows behind. Jirobo burst into chakra, turned around and punched Yagyu Satoru. You are too weak. Yagyu Satoru smiled arrogantly and mockingly, and with a sudden force, Jirobo's head was torn off. Jirobo's headless body spurted out scarlet blood, and then fell heavily to the ground. Uchiha Sasuke breathed a sigh of relief, with the scarlet three-tomo Sharingan, glanced coldly at Yagyu Satoru, and said firmly, Yagyu Satoru, even if you don't make a move, I can defeat him. Uchiha kid, you can pretend to others, but don't pretend to me. Yagyu Satoru kicked Uchiha Sasuke in the ass. Bang! Uchiha Sasuke was kicked to the ground, holding his painful buttocks, gritted his teeth and glared at Yagyu Satoru. Add the word teacher, otherwise your little bird will be seen by everyone. Yagyu Satoru grabbed Sasuke's pants and made a gesture to pull them off. Could you stop messing around? Uchiha Sasuke clutched his trousers awkwardly with a look of anger in his eyes. Hurry up, the enemy is going to see you all. Yagyu Satoru pawed Uchiha Sasuke's lotus seeds little by little. Uchiha Sasuke gritted his teeth and said in a deep voice, Ms. Lu Sheng. Good. Yagyu Satoru let go of Sasuke, showing a satisfied smile. Uchiha stinky brat, usually pretending to be pretending, how dare you still dare to pretend to him. In the distance, the sun seat and stone platform are upright. Kadamura has dark red skin and a black eye on his forehead. He holds a golden bow in his hand and aims at Yagyu Satoru in the distance. If you are our enemy, you still have time to mess around. Go to hell, idiot. Secret technique Spider Battle Bout Desolation. Kadamura shot a golden arrow, and the arrow rotated rapidly in the air, generating a strong air current, blowing stones away wherever it passed. The wind generated by this rotation alone can blow away the stones on the ground, which shows how amazing the power of this arrow is. Teacher Lu Sheng, be careful, everyone in Class 7 exclaimed. Lu Sheng. Yu Hihong saw Yagyu Satoru, who was chatting with Uchiha Sasuke, and seemed to have completely missed the arrow on the side. The moment Kurina Yuhi looked at Yagyu Satoru, the summoning giant summoned by Taiyuya was punched and flew out of the ground. 50. Yagyu Satoru is overwhelmingly powerful. You are listening at novelfull.audio. It's okay, these people are very weak, there's no need to treat them as enemies. Yagyu Satoru raised a finger, and the sharp golden arrow hovered in front of his finger as if stationary. Boom! On both sides of Yagyu Satoru, cracks appeared on the ground, and only the ground where Yagyu Satoru stood was unscathed. TCH, what a weird ability. Kadamura saw a hint of shock in his eyes after seeing the golden arrow blocked. Why can't the arrow touch Yagyu Satoru? What kind of weird blood inheritance limit is this? No wonder Master Orochimaru has always wanted Yagyu Satoru. Smelly brats, don't run around during the evening study time. Yagyu Satoru disappeared out of thin air and used teleportation to put the 7th class together. Everyone in Class 7 looked at Yagyu Satoru suspiciously. Yagyu Satoru looked sideways at Kurina Yuhi, who was fighting Taiyuya, put his hand to his mouth and shouted softly, Xiaohong, you play with her first. If the 680 is in danger, you can call for help. Be serious, the village is in crisis. Shihihong gave Yagyu Satoru an angry look. Yagyu Satoru is good in everything, but there is no sense of crisis at all. Now I will teach you the next stage, Chakra's nature transformation. Yagyu Satoru looked at the 7th class and said. Rasengan is a form change, that is, a move without attributes, but after injecting chakra attributes into Rasengan, it is nature transformation. After the two are combined, you can use the fire-style Rasengan move at that time. Yagyu Satoru raised 2 fingers, and slowly stuck them together. Both enemies and teammates were stunned. What the hell is this Yagyu Satoru doing? Even though the enemy is right in front of us, Yagyu Satoru is still explaining Chakra's nature transformation to the students. Bastard, what do you think of us? The enemy is right in front of you, and you still have the mind to go to class. Suojin and Eugene had 2 heads after the Curse Seal 2 state, and they stared at Yagyu Satoru angrily. What do you think of you? Yagyu Satoru squeezed his chin, pretending to be thinking, and then smiled slightly, educating students guinea pigs. I like class so much, go to hell and go to class. Pull out kunai from the left and the right, and use the fastest speed to attack Lu Xingyu. They felt a sense of humiliation. Yagyu Satoru didn't take them seriously at all. After all, they are the strong men of Inin village who can master the second spell, but Yagyu Satoru didn't pay attention to them. What a joke. Spell reversal he. Yagyu Satoru raised 2 fingers, and a repulsive force centered on him, forming a dark black imaginary substance. The dark matter flew out, and the ground cracked where it passed, shaking the 2 brothers on the left and right into a pulp. The scarlet blood and the dark red flesh were scattered to the ground like heavy rain. Hiss. The audience gasped, staring blankly at the brothers Suijin and Eugene, who had turned into meat, left near and right close in the second state of curse seal, just died so casually. God! This Yagyu Satoru feels more outrageous than the rumors. Lu Xing's blow caused all the teammates and enemies present to be dumbfounded. Only Orochimaru, who was fighting Sarutobi Hiruzen at the top of the Hokage building in the distance, had greed in his eyes. He wants a power, this power that cannot be scientifically inscribed. Don't rush to die. Yagyu Satoru pointed to Kadamura standing on a tree in the distance, and said with a threatening smile, stand still, run away or attack, you will die directly. The reversal of the technique, he, manifested as the repulsive force with he as the core, and the output can reach positive infinity. Approximate small supernova. It is his most common attack method, and it can be cast instantly without a seal. Are you kidding me? This guy is very dangerous. Kadamura's face was ugly, with a hint of panic in his eyes, and his back felt faint chills. He wanted to attack, but didn't have the courage to attack. He wanted to run away, but he didn't have the courage to run away. Kadamura just stood on the top of the tree, looking at the calm Yagyu Satoru with a terrified expression on his face. If he moves now, I'm afraid Yagyu Satoru will kill him in an instant. Yagyu Satoru gave him a sense of fear, far more than the fear Orochimaru gave him. Teacher Lu Xing, can I learn the move just now? Uzumaki Naruto raised his hand excitedly, looking at Yagyu Satoru with starry eyes. That trick just now is so cool. If you can learn it, you can defeat all genin, and then become a Chunin with glory. When the time comes, little Sakura will also admire herself a lot, right? He. Uzumaki Naruto covered his mouth with a silly smile, and secretly glanced at Haruno Sakura next to him. Uchiha Sasuke and Haruno Sakura are speechless. They don't need to think, they can all think of Uzumaki Naruto. What are they thinking at this moment? Idiot! Uchiha Sasuke put his hands in his pockets and said grimly, the trick is Lu Xingyu. The teacher's blood succession limit. Of course I know it's the blood successor limit, you bastard. Uzumaki Naruto showed embarrassment in his eyes, and then grabbed Sasuke's collar angrily. Naruto. Haruno Sakura rolled up his sleeves and punched Uzumaki Naruto hard. Bang! Uzumaki Naruto was knocked to the ground, clutching the red envelope above his head, and looked at Haruno Sakura with an aggrieved face. Sakura-chan, why did you hit me again? Teacher Lu Xing, please continue the explanation. Haruno Sakura ignored Naruto, looking at Yagyu Satoru with a smile. The people from Sand Shinobi Village and the people from Inin Village were all enemies, and they took the initiative to provoke Yagyu Satoru and Squad 7, as if they were offline. They actively bypassed Yagyu Satoru and others, because none of them wanted to die. Since Yagyu Satoru has no intention of doing anything, just ignore it. That move just now is cool, right? But you can't learn it, I'm the only one in the ninja world. When Yagyu Satoru said this, he glanced at Orochimaru in the distance. He is not interested in participating in the master-student relationship between Orochimaru and Sarutobi Hiruzen. He has said before that Orochimaru is Sarutobi Hiruzen, the sin of impotence and weakness. In short, back to the topic. Yagyu Satoru raised his hand, and a blue chakra emerged from his palm, and there was a trace of electricity in the chakra. This trick is called Chidori, and it is the ultimate of Chakra's 4.3 qualitative change. Yagyu Satoru shook Chidori, then looked at Yuihong in the distance, and joked, Xiaohong, don't eavesdrop. Chidori is indeed, the ultimate of chakra nature transformation, which is purely in the palm of your hand, compressing chakra with lightning attributes. This is exactly the opposite of Rinnegan. Rinnegan is the ultimate representation of chakra's form change. Yuihong was listening to what Yagyu Satoru said. Her face blushed slightly when she was discovered, and she snorted softly, "Humph, who would steal a lesson?" After using the form change on this trick, the current of chakra in Yagyu Satoru's palm turned into a sharp knife, and then fell to the ground, turning into two giant tigers. "Look, you can even turn into a beautiful woman." The electric tiger beside Yagyu Satoru turned into a beautiful woman with a protruding front and back. Everyone in the 7th class seems to understand, but in fact they don't understand at all.